All right, hey, how's it going, guys? Pretty quick one today. I just kind of want to talk about the feminist wage gap that people are talking about. And this is, of course, inspired by a video status I recently responded to on Facebook. So for those of you who don't know, the feminist wage gap, I'm sure most of you know, it's basically this theory that women make 77 cents on the hour on the dollar that men make. So in other words, they're paid 23% less. How they got this number is they took the average income of all women, inversed it against the average income of all men. Now, the reason why that doesn't actually make sense is because it doesn't take any other factors into consideration, such as differences in workplace behavior, differences in number of hours worked, and the fact that men typically have more lucrative college degrees than women do and higher paying careers. So, for example, most women are teachers, for example, like in a society, and teachers are paid less than doctors, and most doctors are men. Then, of course, there's going to be wealth disparity there, but it's not for the same job. It's just that the men just in that society have more lucrative jobs, and that happens to be the society that we live in. But we don't actually have to get into that deep, nuanced discussion to disprove the wage gap. All we actually have to talk about is supply and demand. Now, let's suppose the wage gap was true and that women made 77% of what men make, and their labor is 23% cheaper, is in the way of looking at that. That would mean that a business can cut their labor cost by 23% by just hiring women. We live in a capitalist supply and demand economy where the incentive on a business is to reduce cost and maximize gross sales to maximize profit. A very big part of reducing cost is reducing labor cost. Now, again, supposing that's true, this would result in the increase in demand for female labor because it is cheaper. So it's more preferable for businesses. Since the supply of female labor stays relatively the same from year to year, as old women retire, new women enter the workforce at roughly the same rate. I mean, the supply is like a very slow, steady increase, but that very, very small increase in supply versus the very large increase in demand from the 23% savings possible from hiring women would result in the value of female labor increasing over time because more and more businesses would want to hire women. And this trend would go on until either for some reason the supply of female labor drastically increased or until female wages met male wages. Now, and that's just assuming that the wage gap is even true, which it isn't. We can show through other means that the way they came across that number is extremely dishonest. But we don't even have to do that because we can just show that it's not possible for that to happen in a supply and demand capitalist economy, such as the one we have here in America. Like I said, pretty quick one. Later.